Welcome, everybody, to Indiana Basketball Weekly postgame show on the Gruely True Sports Network. The Indiana Basketball Weekly postgame show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag. To get up to a $1,000 cash bonus back, just go to thegruelytruth.net, click on the MyBookie.ag banner at the top of the page to get up to $1,000 back. It's 50%, so if you put $2,000 in, you get an extra grand on top of that, which, for my first guest, I'll have to explain to him that would be $3,000 because it's 2 plus 1. Help me welcome 1979 NIT World Champion Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Having a great day. IU won. It's always a great day when IU wins.
All right. And next up, a man who was not good enough to play in the NIT, but he did go to the NCAA tournament, Collin Hartman. How you doing, Collin?
I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day actually here in Indiana, so
all right.
I'm enjoying life right now.
Of course, a man who was eliminated in the first round, but he scored 6 points for St. Francis in the initial game. Hanna. How you doing, Cole?
I'm doing pretty good, guys. You know, like Collin said, beautiful day here. IU won, so not a whole lot to complain about.
All right, we'll start off with the stats. Cole, what stood out to you?
Yeah, I think Indiana really won this game with their defense. They hold Arkansas to just 34% from the field. They had this is another game where they had a big advantage on the inside. They outscored Arkansas in the paint 30-10. They had a couple areas where they really struggled in, though. Free throw shooting, they go just 15 of 24 for 62%. Turnovers were another thing they needed to watch. They had 13, which isn't a great number. But I think the big takeaway there in the turnover front is actually they did not record a turnover in the final 10 minutes and 17 seconds of that game. So even though that was a problem that was really plaguing them for 3/4 of that game, they were able to get that cleaned up, and I think it's a big reason they walked out with the W.
I think the biggest reason they walked out with the W, and we've seen it in the NCAA tournament. We saw it last night when Liberty beat Mississippi State in the last minute, what they did at the free throw line, Collin. And when you look at it, I saw at least 3 missed free throws in the last 30 seconds by Arkansas, and that was a huge game changer.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt when a team shoots free throws like we normally do. So it was good. I mean, I think Cole's spot on with it about the defense. We didn't win like we would have liked to. But I think that them definitely missing those free throws, it didn't hurt.
Yeah, it never hurts. And Steve, what was your takeaway from this? The thing that I took away was the crowd. We talked about the 5,000. There was Dan Dockage said 15,000. And number one, I still hate Indiana being in the NCAA or the NIT tournament, even if they win it, because it means I got to listen to Dan Dockage more.
Yeah, and I was going to start off by saying this, I'm going to use this coined phrase, in 40 other states it's a game, in Indiana it's religion. To put 12,025 as the official, 12,225 as the official attendance listed on the stat sheet. And to do that for a Saturday noon NIT game when the NCAA tournament's going on, it's good weather in Indiana, the Little Five qualifications are going on. That's pretty amazing to me that they filled that place up. And I think that was a big factor in Indiana winning. And Cole, you're right. I saw people standing in line because they were showing in line. There were guys out there in shorts, standing in line, going to the game in shorts, which is really, it's springtime. It's good. And Mike, I know you're not a big fan of the NIT, but this is really good for Indiana. I mean, it's kind of uniting to everybody a little bit and bringing everybody back together. My biggest takeaway from the game, and I've been on his camp all along, is Devontae Green is becoming the glue that's putting his team back together. He played the most minutes of anybody, 36-58. I know he made some turnovers, and made some stupid turnovers, and he got benched for it for a minute. They put him right back in. But I think for the rest of this season and probably in the next year, as Devontae Green goes, this basketball team goes.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment on that? Cole, you agree?
Well, he's certainly been a big part of their team recently. Steve kind of touched on it a little bit. He still has a lot of plays that just leave you just scratching your head trying to figure out what you think he was going to do there. But even that, you kind of have to take the good and the bad with him. But, even with the turnovers, he was the only guy really for them that could hit an outside shot today. offensively, outside of Juwan Morgan, he was really the go-to guy for most of the game. So, it's just I think it's another game where the good kind of outweighed the bad from him, I think. Hopefully he's had issues with consistency throughout his career. He seems to be doing better on that at the end of the season. Hopefully he can carry that into next season.
All right.
Would it be fair to say that the more minutes you give him, the more consistent he gets? Anybody want to answer that? I mean, I think the more you play him, the better he gets.
Well, I think that's probably true with anybody, though. And if you look at
not
this,
necessarily.
If you look at the minutes, well, not with you, Risley. The more they played you, the more Knight just pulled his hair out. But when you look at it, Juwan Morgan, 35 minutes, Devontae, 37, Durham, 36, Fennessy, 37. I still think this team goes – I think Rob Fennessy is still the biggest part of this team. The thing that stood out to me about Devontae Green was the 11 rebounds, though, Collin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, just one of the things that, Coach Crean always preached to us was guard rebounds are paramount, just because you don't have to take the time to get an outlet pass that can really speed up the fast break, just because the guard can take it and go. And guys are getting up and down the floor early. And I think that with having guys like Rob or Devontae, like he did today, getting rebounds, having those guys understand how important and how advantageous it can be for this team to get the guard rebounds and get out and run, it can really change the speed of the game in our favor, in my opinion. So I think that if you can have more guys buy into that concept, it would be, it would be beneficial for the team.
Was I the only one that noticed that toward the end of the game that when they pulled Devontae for a minute because he made two stupid turnovers right in a row, and they brought him back in almost in a minute, but they put the ball in Fennessy's hands, bringing the ball up the court the rest of the game. Did anybody else notice that too? Like, Devontae, don't bring the ball up.
That's why
it's like, don't touch the ball. Yeah.
That's why Fennessy's the most important player on the team. He's the guy that keeps everything under control. He's the one that creates opportunities for other people. Devontae creates opportunities for Devontae. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just Fennessy's the point guard. And I think that Fennessy is the one that makes all of this run.
I would agree 100%. Tennessee's definitely coming into his own now. I mean, he seems to be healthy. And I wanted the ball in his hands. I did not want the ball in Devontae's hands, bring the ball up court. I wanted it in his hands when we need to score, but not when we've got to get the ball up court and beat the press, because is this about the most pressing we've ever seen anybody do to Indiana all year? Cole, has anybody pressed us more than...
Arkansas's been known for that since the 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just style of play they're going to play.
Yeah. Zach McRoberts came in and made some really Collin Hartman type moves, I thought. And I thought of Collin immediately when Zach came in and made some really great non-statistical plays. But the hustle, the defense, he was 1 for 1. He hit an important shot, but he disrupted things, I thought, defensively. And I would say this was, I don't know, looking back on the whole season, maybe the best defensive effort this team has played all year. Is that fair, or am I blowing smoke?
I think
nobody cares.
I can't remember the Michigan State game statistics, but I think that we played decent defensive against them, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and
we out-rebounded them.
From looking at this, Arkansas is not a very good offensive team. They got some guys that can shoot the ball, but I don't think they get into sets real good. I don't think they do a whole lot of things real good. They're a young team that kind of play stupid, and Indiana took advantage and won the game.
Well, they're missing their best player, too, aren't they? Wasn't Arkansas missing their best player?
Well, technically, so was Indiana, correct?
Technically, but I'm not sure that's actually.
Yeah, but if you go back and look at that Indiana-Arkansas game, I mean, Romeo was the best player on the floor for Indiana. Galford, whatever the hell his name is, was the best player for Arkansas, so you just removed those two players.
So it's a wash. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Talk about the crowd. I mean, almost 13,000 people for an NIT game. That's pretty strong, guys, isn't it?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, very strong.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the crowd they got against St. Francis. I mean, it was over double that crowd.
5,000. Yeah. And Dan Dock has kept claiming that they were not students, but I saw a lot of students at the game. I don't know where he was coming from with that, but I think it was a general. Was it a general admission? $20 I think you paid to get in, and everybody is general admission seating basically.
Yeah, pretty much. So IU kind of has a student section on, so they have the student section behind the basket, and that was pretty much all students. But then they also have a student section kind of on the left-hand side of the lower bowl, and that was mostly just families sitting up there.
Mike, they only played 8 guys, okay, and 5 of the guys, 4 of them over 30 minutes, which is 90% of the game basically. Are they going to wear themselves out?
What do they got to save it for? I mean, they're all 18 to 22 years old. They ought to be able to play a full basketball game every couple of days.
Okay.
Well, easier said than done, but yeah.
Well, put it like this, Collin. You don't mind if I call you Collin instead of your name is Collin now. But I think if you're competitive and you want to win this tournament, you want to play. Why are you going to be tired?
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
Look at it like this, Steve. Fitzner didn't Fitzner make a shot today?
He had a 3, yeah.
2 for 4 from he had 3. He had 2 for 4 from the 2-point and 1 for 3 from the 3-point.
Yeah, so there you go.
And looked strong. Actually, he made an incredible follow-up rebound where he crashed the boards. I don't know. Collin, are these guys just getting it now? Are they coming back? They're playing with a little bit of intensity now that we haven't seen. The intensity is being stronger every game, right or wrong.
Yeah, and I think that part of it is just, Coach Miller motivating these guys. And these guys feeling like, well, we've kind of pissed away the season, and we're here in this spot, so we have to play the games, so we might as well win them. That would be my mentality is if we're here, we might as well win it. So I think that's kind of really what it comes down to and what it has come down to for these guys, which has played out well for them so far.
So, Mike, can IU win the NIT?
Not the way they're playing right now. I don't think they can. I think they're playing really hard, but I don't think they're playing really well. And you're going to have Clemson come in here. Clemson's a good team. You look in the bottom bracket, you got teams like TCU. Those are all teams that are heads and shoulders above Arkansas. And they struggled with Arkansas today. I thought they played really hard. But once again, when you don't shoot the ball well, and I don't think, outside of Devontae Green, I don't think they shot the ball great. I still think
41%, yeah.
Yeah, 41%, not bad, but you're going to play teams where you're going to have to shoot better than that. And the 13 turnovers worries me. Playing only 8 guys in the end could be a problem. I don't think it should be, but it could be. I mean, hell, if you watch, IU in 1981 played 7 or 8 guys all the way through the NCAA tournament, correct? Steve?
Yeah, we only had we basically had the starting 5, and we had Jimmy Thomas and myself. Basically, was pretty much all that really played through the whole tournament. I mean, it got significant minutes.
Yeah, you had enough blowouts where you had other guys that played a few minutes at the end. Yeah, but overall you didn't.
Right.
But
overall, when it came down to crunch time, it was our starting 5 of Witt, Landon, Ray, Isaiah, and Ted, and then I came in for the bigs when we need sub, and Jimmy came in for the guards when they needed a break. And that was pretty much it. So it was a 7-man rotation.
Yeah, so you're still looking at a bracket that carries NC State, Clemson, overall, Xavier, Texas, Creighton, TCU. They're going to have to play better than what they played today, I think. The home crowd will help, but Clemson is a much better team than Arkansas. That's assuming Clemson gets by Wichita State, which I'm going to assume they are. But yeah, I mean they've got a shot to win it, but they've got to take care of the ball better, and I think they just got to run better sets on offense because they still don't look in sync when they're playing the game. Now, Deron Davis became my favorite player just because he dove after a ball today.
Saw that.
But so
Yeah,
when you look at this,
down the corner.
Cole, did they give Did they give any hint on when IU would play the quarterfinal game, Cole?
It's either Tuesday or Wednesday. They don't have a specific date yet, but one of those 2 days.
Okay, because then what you also got is this. If it's Tuesday or Wednesday, Wichita State and Clemson don't play until tomorrow night. So if it's Tuesday, that's an advantage to IU too because Clemson's got to travel. Or Wichita State.
Well, that was two questions. One is, first off, you guys know, Lipscomb is killing UNCG right now, 63-45, and they're blowing them out. So that there goes one number one seed down. So the question is to anybody, I mean, I know the answer, but let's just go ahead and discuss it. The home court advantage, as long as Indiana keeps winning, they keep playing at Assembly Hall until they get to Madison Square Garden. Is that how many points a game is that worth?
Well, I don't know how many points a game it's worth. It's definitely a big help to them. This next coming game, they have another Tuesday. I mean, that's the last home game. If they win that, they're to Madison Square Garden. Archie talked about it a lot about how, with the crowd behind him today, he doesn't think they win without the crowd they had today. So having home court advantage is a big deal. Assembly Hall is always a tough place to play. Hopefully they can keep getting good crowds for whoever wins between Clemson and Wichita State because I think they'll need it.
Yeah, and that's the winner of that's their next opponent, right? Clemson or Wichita State. Clemson's, ACC. Both teams are great programs. I mean, they're Wichita State probably a little more storied program, but Clemson, ACC, you can't ever knock them down. So they'll have their hands full for sure.
Yeah.
Let's.
I think this shows how messed up the seeding is in the NIT too, because Lipscomb was a 5 seed. And if you look at Lipscomb this year, they lost, I think, 2 games by a total of like 4 points to Belmont, who was in the tournament. They lost to Liberty in the conference tournament final. Lipscomb's a team that blew out TCU at TCU. Who else did they have on their schedule? They blew out
they're
SMU
killing UNCG right
SMU. Now. Yeah, and Lipscomb went to Louisville when Louisville was on that hot streak and lost at the buzzer to them. So Lipscomb's a really good team. Lipscomb lost to Clemson, I think, like 84-74 or something at Clemson. So they're a good team. Wichita State, I think, is a team that's just a little bit above 500. It's going to mean a lot to them if they were to come here, probably more than Clemson. But the other thing with Clemson is it's not like they've had a lot of tournament success in the past anyways. But I would give Indiana the advantage here. Then you're probably going to play Creighton or TCU in the next round. It's possible Indiana could play Nebraska in the Final Four. Wouldn't that be exciting?
2 Big Ten teams, yeah.
What? I was generally excited when I asked that question.
No, I know it did. No,
your voice didn't seem too excited.
It didn't seem you were genuinely excited about it, Mike. You were kind of sounding like it sounds a little sarcastical, but that's all right. We'll take it
I don't know that sarcastical is a word, but if it was, you would be right. I don't know, guys. This is my problem. I mean, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and it's great that many people showed up today. But then again, I mean, I don't know. I guess Indiana fans are desperate to see wins in any tournament they can get right now. But I just have a hard time getting excited. I mean, I saw the crowd. I tried to get excited to watch the game. But in the end, when I flipped over to LSU Maryland during the timeouts and watched the game from the tournament, that seemed like I was watching basketball today. And when I would flip back to the NIT game, it was like I was watching an old videotape of a game back in the 80s. I don't know why. I don't know. The intensity is not there. I hope they win. I think what people at Indiana should be more excited about or the Indiana women, who got a win for, I think, the first time ever in the NCAA tournament, and will be playing in the second round tomorrow.
No, that's their third one. Coach Morin had 2 wins in the NCAA tournament, so she's got 2 out of the 3.
Okay, because she's done an outstanding job there, because that's a program that never was any good until they got there, were they, Collin?
No, they weren't. She's really done a great job there. She's awesome coach, awesome person to be around. She deserves it, and this team deserves it.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it, Steve, was there a women's team when Bob Knight was there?
Yeah,
but nobody paid attention to it. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking maybe we should be doing shows after the women's team right now, because they're 1 win from the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I remember a couple times when Coach got really upset because the women had the court at Assembly Hall, and we were supposed to be on the court. There were a couple of unfortunate incidents that occurred that probably never got in public.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
About discussing the fact that the women's team needs to get off the court right now because Knight did not want to wait any longer to practice.
So, Cole, you're our RU beat reporter. Does IU have a shot against Oregon?
For women's basketball?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay. Good job, Cole. Maybe we need another Indiana beat writer to just cover the women from now on.
Yeah, that would probably be your best bet.
Mike, are you trying to signal that you're done with talking about the NIT and about this game, and you want to move on and wrap the show up? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I was actually just wanting to make sure we brought it up, because I know it's a big deal. Because
fair. Yeah.
I knew if it wasn't the first, hell, let's face it, it was only the third, and they've been playing the tournament since I think around the late 70s, early 80s. So it's a huge accomplishment for Indiana basketball, and I just think it's something that we needed to bring up.
Let's talk. Let me just bring this up, and I know the party line, and it's going to be interesting. Romeo Langford, is he done, Cole? I mean, anybody? Is he sitting out? Has he decided he's not going to play, and just they're all being coy about it?
Yeah, Archie addressed that again in his press conference today. Pretty much just said, he's continuing to get treatment on that, having MRIs and stuff done just to make sure there's no structural damage. They don't think it's anything long-term, but, it's going to, again, he didn't sound too optimistic about him playing either Tuesday or Wednesday. He did say, the more we keep winning, the longer they stay in the tournament, the better chance he has of coming back. How much they have to win for that to happen, or if that'll happen, is anyone's guess.
But is that, Mike? Is that a party line? That's
I think this. I think that in the best interest of the kid, I don't know why, and we know the back injury is real. We don't know don't know the extent of it, but he left during the Ohio State game in the Big Ten tournament to get something done for a few minutes and came back. We know it's true, and if it's true, why do you want to risk your future? I mean, I think that also for IU, if he's not coming back, it gives guys a chance to play 37 minutes that normally play 25 or 26. It makes the team better in the end. I think that Romeo needs to do what's best for Romeo right now. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I know that in 1981, in the Mid-East Regionals, I blew my back out terribly. I destroyed the vertebrae, or the disc between L3, L4, and L4 and L5. 2 days later, I had cortisone injections in my back. And, I played. I just said, I'm not missing this opportunity.
You were also a senior that was not looking at a $30 million guaranteed contract in a couple months.
I was going to get to that.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
and it's not a shot. And, most people would sit here and say, well, it's my team, so I would play anyways. But I don't think you really know what you would do in a situation like that, Collin, until you're actually in that situation and have the opportunity staring at you that he does.
Well, see, the thing is, I've never been in that situation just because I wasn't good enough, clearly. But I can honestly say that I would, at this point, I would sit out.
Yeah.
Because especially you have that contract looking you dead in the face. I don't care what anybody says. He literally could make more in 1 year next year than people make their entire lives.
Yeah, he could take care of his entire family for the next 2 generations.
Exactly, and it's a no-brainer when you look at it that way. Yes, the IU fans are going to be selfish, like, look, I would stay. Yeah, no, you would not.
Well, the thing is this. If it's the NCAA tournament and they were playing against Iowa State in the first round, he probably would have played.
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah,
it's just
because you're playing for something.
It just is. It just is. You're still playing for a tournament in the NIT, but at the end of the day, it's not the national championship, whether you win it or not. It's just not the national championship. It's not the same. So if I were him and I were in those shoes or I was in that situation, I mean, it would be you would have to. I don't know what you would do or say to get me to play, to be honest with you, just because you have that opportunity. It's no-brainer. Selfish for your rest of your family and everyone after you to try to play, maybe mess it up even worse, you're back, and then not get the contract at all.
Well, how about this? If you're a teammate of his, do you blame him for it, Collin?
Heck no.
Steve?
No way. And here's my reason why. And that's, as a teammate, yes, you want to win, but as a teammate, the way I saw it, well, like, these guys are my brothers, and I wanted what was best for them as well. Yes, I was selfish a little bit and wanted guys to play, but I played in the NCAA tournament with a broken wrist, but I played because I wanted to, and I didn't have really anything, to lose. I don't know if that even makes sense, but
yeah,
I wanted what's best for my teammates, and they should, ultimately want what's best for him. And if he has this opportunity for himself and his family, I don't know what the agents are talking to him, or the GMs, or whoever's telling them whatever, or if the draft boards are even right with the lottery picks. But if he's anywhere in that lottery, he needs to stay. He needs to stay out of that game.
Well, the other thing is this: even if he wasn't a lottery pick and he was going to come back next year, I don't think I'd want him playing under that case either, because a back injury, if you don't get it taken care of, could be something that could be chronic for a long time.
Yeah, he could be old and crippled and end up like Steve.
Yeah.
I go to a chiropractor every other week. Yeah, no, I do. I go to a chiropractor every week. But
I go 3 times a week.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So Mike. Yeah. It's interesting phraseology, Collin. You and I wrote this down. And I kind of started to write down as you started saying it, that you guys were brothers. In my era, and don't take this wrong, we considered ourselves warriors. We're like, we didn't hang out together all the time, but we went to war every time we played. And, Woodson played with a bad back. Kitchell played with a bad back. Whitman played with a bad back.
You were playing for the NCAA championship.
Well, and not in 79, not in 80. Well, yeah, in a way we were, but we taped it up, wrapped it up, and went and played because it was the thing to do. It's warring. You're a warrior. You just go out and play.
No, you're not, because you're a basketball player. But I would say this: there also was
it's a different mentality. It's a different mentality.
Made. No, it's not a different mentality. It's that you didn't have the opportunities. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about anybody on your team. Isaiah Thomas was going to get $1 million a year as long as he stayed healthy. Now that $1 million is like 10, 20 times that. It's something that takes care of your entire family. So a warrior to me is somebody that makes sure that his kids and his grandkids are taken care of down the road, not worrying about winning a basketball game. But that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Because in the end, that's the only thing that matters. Because Collin can say, well, we're all brothers, and you can say, well, we were all warriors. But in the end, if you can't pay your bills, most of your brothers and your warrior friends aren't going to answer the phone call from you.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, Isaiah wasn't looking I'm the first pick, so I'm making, for the next 5 years, I'm getting a guaranteed $100 million. He was looking at, for the next 5 years, I'm making $3.5 million. Not the same thing.
Well, we'll save it for another show. Let's let it go.
Go ahead. Let's go. Just go.
No. Should Langford come back next year? Is he ready for the NBA?
Doesn't matter if he's ready for the NBA or not. If he's
ready for the paycheck, he's ready for the paycheck.
He's going, because that's all that matters.
Yeah.
All I know is this:
right.
Everybody that goes to college for what reason? To get a good job when they get out. So, if I could make $10 or $15 million right away, why am I going to stay? And then maybe this back issue is something that continues to flare up. Then all of a sudden, nobody's picking you, and you're stuck with just a college education. And then, man, I'm not saying that jokingly, because I know people that have college educations that are managers at McDonald's. I mean, it doesn't always work out the way you want. So if he's got the opportunity to get the money, he's got to get the money. Now, if all of a sudden he looks like he's being picked mid to late first round, then he comes back. It's a no-brainer, because one good year and he's back in the lottery.
Yep. No doubt. So Cole, are we done seeing Romeo this year?
I mean, I could see him coming back in a Final Four scenario if IU were to get there. It's like Archie said, though. He's not coming back unless he's 100% healthy. No risk of farther damaging whatever he has going on with his back. And we don't exactly know what that is, so it's tough to say. I do think it's a possibility he could come back in the Final Four. Obviously, Romeo said at the end of the season he intends to play in the NIT, so I don't think he'll sit out if he's healthy, but it's just a matter of if he can get healthy.
But all right, we done, guys?
I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good. We got either Clemson or Wichita State next game, right? So
yeah,
who do we want to play, Collin? Who do we want to play? Clemson or Wichita State? Or does it matter?
Quite candidly, I haven't looked at it very much. Looked at those two teams.
Yeah, I haven't either. Mike, who do we want to play?
I want to play Clemson. I think they're better to two teams. I want to see how good this team is now. I mean, it's not like we're in the NCAA tournament. We're hoping Wichita State wins so we can play the lesser team. I want to play the better team, because if this whole point of this tournament, or a lot of the point, is to get prepared for next year, why do you want to play a lesser team?
There you go. I agree with you 100% there.
Cole?
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it. You hit the nail right in the head. I think Clemson's the better team. So, yeah, I'd like to see Clemson come into Bloomington. I think that'd be a great game. Challenge the guys and make them better for next year.
All right, guys, we're going to go.
Do we think Cole? Do we think it's going to be sold out or packed for that game?
I mean, I don't know about sold out. Hopefully we can get another crowd similar to this. I think 12 to 13,000 is probably the most you're going to do for an NIT game, especially during a week. I mean, luckily this game landed on a Saturday. Probably during the week, you're not going to have as many people who can come down to see it. But obviously quals today probably hurt the student crowd. So hopefully, Tuesday, Wednesday, they can get a better student crowd to make up for it.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We'll be back after the NIT quarterfinal game, either Tuesday or Wednesday night. Hopefully that game will be at 7 o'clock, so it's not too late, because Collin has to be in bed by 9. So hopefully we'll go ahead and get it early enough so Collin could be on. I want to thank everybody for coming on. I want to remind everybody, Survive in Advance Monday with Brian, Ralph, and Steve. We will be talking a little Sweet 16 action on Tuesday. We'll have Fred Mitchell, who wrote the definitive book on Loyola basketball about the 1963 national championship team, all the way up to last year's Final Four team. So make sure you check that out also. You can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, wherever you find sports podcasts. You'll find the grueling truth. So for Steve Risley, Collin Hartman, Cole Hanna, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to the grueling truth, where the legends speak.